Jace sprinted through the alien canyon, his boots kicking up clouds of crimson dust that stung his eyes. The twin suns blazed overhead, their heat pressing against his back like a physical force, but he couldn't stop, not with the biomechanical drones screeching behind him, their razor claws glinting in the light. His pack bounced heavily, the stolen alien tech inside pulsing with a faint, eerie glow. It was his lifeline, the only shot to save his sister, Lila, wasting away in the colony's medbay, her lungs corroded by alien radiation. He had to get it to her. He had to keep running. A sharp laugh cut through the drone's wail, chilling despite the sweltering air. "Is that all you've got, human?" The voice was smooth, mocking, and unmistakably alien. Jace's gaze snapped upward. There, perched on a jagged outcrop, was Zara, the alien champion. Her sleek, metallic form shimmered under the suns, her bioluminescent skin pulsing in rhythm with her amusement. She leaned forward, her elongated limbs coiled like a predator's, her eyes four glowing slits fixed on him with disdain. "You're slow, weak, pathetic." Jace gritted his teeth, his chest heaving. "Keep talking," he muttered under his breath, dodging a drone's claw that sliced the air inches from his arm. He didn't have time for her games. The Tekka power core, if the colony's scavengers were right, could purify their water, maybe even cure Lila. He'd risked everything to steal it from the alien ruins, and now Zara, some glorified warrior of her clan, wanted it too. Her presence wasn't a coincidence. She'd been tracking him since he'd crossed into her territory. The canyon narrowed, its walls closing in like a trap. Jace's legs burned, his lungs screamed, but he pushed harder, weaving between boulders. The drones were relentless, their mechanical wings buzzing like a swarm of enraged insects. One lunged, its claw grazing his forearm, drawing a hot line of blood. He hissed, clutching the wound, but didn't slow. The core's glow intensified, as if sensing the danger, and Jace felt a strange warmth spreading through his pack, unnerving him. "What was this thing?" Zara's laugh rang out again, closer now. "You bleed so easily," she called, her voice dripping with scorn. She leaped from the outcrop, landing with a grace that defied the rocky terrain, her long limbs folding and unfolding like liquid metal. She was fast, too fast. Jace glanced back, his heart pounding. She wasn't just toying with him, she was hurting him, driving him deeper into the canyon. But why? If she wanted the core, she could have taken it by now. Her strength, her speed, she was leagues beyond him. So what was her game? He ducked behind a slab of stone, catching his breath. The drones hovered, scanning, their red optics glowing like malevolent eyes. Jace pressed his back against the rock, his mind racing. The colony was a day's trek away, and Lila didn't have time. He'd seen her last night, her face pale, her breath shallow, the medbay's machines beeping like a countdown. This core was her chance, maybe her only one. He couldn't let Zara win. "You can't hide, human," Zara said, her voice echoing through the canyon. She was close, her footsteps silent, but her presence undeniable, like a storm about to break. "That core belongs to my people. You're a thief, and thieves don't last long here." Jace's jaw tightened. He peeked around the rock, spotting her silhouette against the suns. She stood tall, her armor-like skin reflecting the light, a curved blade strapped to her thigh. She wasn't attacking, not yet. Her eyes locked onto his, and for a moment, he saw something flicker in them. Curiosity? Amusement? It was gone before he could name it. "Call me a thief again," Jace shouted, his voice hoarse but defiant, "and I'll show you what humans do when we're cornered." A lie, maybe, but he'd fought worse odds. Growing up in the colony meant scrapping for every scrap of food, every drop of water. He'd learned to think fast, to improvise. Zara might be stronger, but he wasn't helpless. The drones zeroed in, their claws snapping. Jace bolted, zigzagging through the canyon, his mind scrambling for a plan. The core's glow was brighter now, almost blinding, and he felt a faint hum vibrating through his pack, like a heartbeat. It was alive, or something close to it. That's why Zara wanted it. Not just power control. Her clan's sacred weapon, the scavengers had whispered. A relic that could shift the balance of this warden planet. Zara matched his pace effortlessly, leaping from rock to rock, her movements fluid, predatory. "You don't even know what you carry," she said, her voice cutting through the drone's screeches. "It's not a toy, human. It's not for your kind. Then why don't you take it?" Jace snapped, ducking under a drone's swipe. He grabbed a loose stone and hurled it, clipping the drone's wing. It spiraled, crashing into the canyon wall in a shower of sparks. One down. Too many to go. Zara didn't answer, but her silence felt heavier than her taunts. Jace's stomach twisted. She wasn't just after the core, she was testing him. Why? He didn't have time to figure it out. The canyon deadened ahead, a sheer wall blocking his path. No way out. The drones closed in, their claws gleaming. Zara landed in front of him, her blade now in hand, its edge catching the light like liquid fire. Jace skidded to a stop, his hand tightening around the pack strap. Blood dripped from his arm, pooling in the dust. His pulse thundered, but he forced a grin, meeting Zara's gaze. "What's it gonna be, champion? Kill me and take it? Or you got something else in mind?" Her eyes narrowed, the glow in them flickering again. Curiosity, maybe, or something deeper. She stepped closer, her blade lowering slightly. "You're not what I expected," she said, almost to herself. The drones hovered, waiting as if on her command. "Run, human, or fight. Either way, this ends soon." Jace's grin faded. He was cornered, bleeding, outmatched. But Lila's face flashed in his mind, her weak smile, her whispered, "You'll make it." He wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot. Jace stood frozen, his back pressed against the canyon's unyielding wall, the stolen core's faint hum vibrating through his pack. Zara loomed before him, her bioluminescent skin pulsing in the dimming light of the twin suns, her blade glinting with menace. The drones hovered behind her, their red optics locked on him, but they hadn't attacked, not yet. Her four glowing eyes studied him, sharp and unreadable, her earlier mockery replaced by a calculating silence. Jace's arm throbbed where the drone's claw had sliced it, blood trickling down his fingers, but he kept his grip tight on the pack. Lila's life depended on this core. He wasn't handing it over to some alien champion, no matter how deadly she looked. "Give it up, human," Zara said, her voice low, almost bored, but laced with an edge that made his skin crawl. "That core isn't yours. It never was." Jace forced a smirk, though his heart hammered. "Funny, I don't see your name on it." He shifted his weight, eyeing the drones. If he could slip past her, maybe he could lose them in the canyon's twists. A long shot, but better than standing here waiting to die. Zara tilted her head, her eyes narrowing. "You think you're clever. You're not. You're just fragile." She stepped closer, her blade twirling idly in her hand. "Your kind always breaks in the end." "Keep talking," Jace snapped, his voice rough with exhaustion. "You're not the first to underestimate me." He'd faced raiders, starvation, and worse in the colony. Zara was just another obstacle, bigger, sure, but not unbeatable. He hoped. Before she could respond, a piercing shriek split the air. A drone lunged, its claws aimed at Jace's chest. He dove to the side, rolling across the rocky ground, pain shooting through his wounded arm. The drone's claw grazed his pack, tearing a strap. He cursed, clutching it tighter. Zara didn't move, watching with that same unnerving curiosity, like she was studying a bug under glass. "Why aren't you stopping them?" Jace shouted, scrambling to his feet as another drone dove. He swung his pack, knocking it off course, but the impact jarred his arm, blood seeping through his sleeve. "Thought you wanted the core intact." Zara's lips curved, not quite a smile. "Maybe I want to see how long you last." But her eyes flicked to the drones, a flicker of tension betraying her calm. She muttered something in her language, sharp and guttural, and the drones hesitated, their wings buzzing erratically. Jace seized the moment, darting toward a narrow gap in the canyon wall. If he could squeeze through, he might lose them. But Zara was faster. She lunged, her long limbs a blur, blocking his path. Her blade pressed against his chest, not cutting but close enough to make his breath catch. "Move," she said, her voice cold, "and I carve you open." Jace met her gaze, his pulse roaring in his ears. "You need me alive. Or you'd have killed me already." It was a guess, but her hesitation, blade steady but not pressing harder, gave him hope. "What's the core to you, huh? Some trophy for your clan?" Her eyes flashed, a pulse of light rippling across her skin. "You know nothing of my clan," she hissed. "That core power's a weapon that could end your pathetic colonies. Or save them. And you're too weak to wield it. Then why not take it?" Jace shot back, his voice steady despite the blade's threat. "You're stronger, faster. What's stopping you?" For a moment, she didn't answer, her eyes searching his face. Then, a low hum vibrated through the canyon, not the core, but something bigger. The drones screeched, their optics flaring, and three more swooped from above, claws extended. Jace's stomach dropped. These weren't Zara's. She cursed, spinning to face them, her blade slashing one drone in half with a shower of sparks. "Move," she barked, shoving Jace toward the gap. He stumbled, caught off guard by her push, but didn't argue. They ran, side by side, as the drones pursued, their claws tearing chunks from the canyon walls. Jace's lungs burned, but he matched her pace, adrenaline drowning out the pain in his arm. They dove into a shallow cave, the drone's screeches echoing outside. Zara crouched, her blade ready, her eyes scanning the entrance. Jace slumped against the wall, catching his breath, the core's glow casting eerie shadows. "Those weren't yours," he said, more statement than question. "No," Zara growled, her voice tight. "My clan's hunters. They want the core and my head." She glanced at him, her expression unreadable. "I was exiled for questioning their ways. For thinking like you." Jace blinked, the words sinking in. "Exiled?" That explained her lone hunt, her hesitation. "So you're not their champion anymore," he said, testing her. "What's the core to you, then? Redemption?" She stiffened, her blade lowering slightly. "It's power," she said quietly, "to destroy their weapon or wield it myself." Jace's chest tightened. Lila's face flashed in his mind, her frail hand squeezing his, her whispered hope. "My sister's dying," he said, the words slipping out before he could stop them. "This core can save her. You want to talk power? That's mine. Zara's eyes flickered, something softening in her gaze. But before she could speak, the drone's hum grew louder, their claws scraping the cave's entrance. We survive this first, she said, gripping her blade. Then we talk. Jace nodded, pulling a jagged metal shard from his pack, a makeshift weapon from the colony. Truce, he asked, meeting her gaze. For now, she said, her voice grudging but firm. The drones breached the cave and Jace braced himself, the core's hum matching his pounding heart. They'd fight together for now. Jace crouched in the dim cave, the core's faint glow painting jagged shadows on the walls. Zara stood near the entrance, her blade poised, her bioluminescent skin pulsing faintly as the drone's screeches faded into the hull of a rising sandstorm. The air grew thick with crimson grit, sealing them inside, the cave's mouth a swirling wall of dust. Jace's arm throbbed, the blood from the drone's claw now crusted on his sleeve, but he gripped his metal shard tightly, eyes flicking between Zara and the storm. They were trapped, and he didn't trust her, not yet, not with Lila's life on the line. Stop fidgeting, Zara snapped, her voice sharp but low, her four eyes scanning the entrance. Your human twitching is distracting. Jace snorted, leaning against the cave wall, the core's hum a steady pulse in his pack. Sorry, princess, not all of us are built like statues. He gestured at her sleek, armored form. Some of us feel the cold. Her eyes narrowed, a ripple of light flashing across her skin. You're weak. Complaining about a little chill when you're bleeding out. She pointed her blade at his arm, not threatening but close enough to make him tense. You'll die if you keep moving like that. Worried about me? Jace shot back, his tone mocking to hide the pain. Didn't peg you for the caring type. He shifted, wincing as the movement tugged at his wound. The storm's roar drowned out the drones, but it also meant no escape, not for hours, maybe days. He glanced at the core, its glow brighter now, almost alive. If it could save Lila, he'd endure worse than this. Zara sheathed her blade, crouching across from him, her movements precise, almost mechanical. I care about the core, she said, her voice cold. You're just the thing carrying it. For now. Jace smirked, though his chest tightened. Keep telling yourself that. Her words stung, but he saw the way her eyes flicked to his wound, the slight tension in her posture. She wasn't as detached as she pretended. He rummaged in his pack, pulling out a ration bar, stale, gritty, but all he had. He broke it in half, tossing one piece to her. Eat. You look like you're starving under all that glow. Zara caught it, her fingers swift, but she stared at the bar like it was alien tech. What is this? She asked, her tone laced with suspicion. Food, Jace said, taking a bite of his half, grimacing at the taste. Not your fancy clan feasts, but it keeps you alive. She turned the bar over, her eyes narrowing. Your kind eats this, willingly? But she sniffed it, then took a cautious bite, her face twisting in disgust. Jace stifled a laugh, the sound dying in his throat as the storm's howl spiked, shaking the cave walls. Great, he muttered, brushing dust from his hair. Trapped with a snob who hates my snacks. Zara glared, swallowing hard. Your chaos is infuriating. No plan, no discipline, just flailing. She gestured at his torn pack, his bloodied arm. You stumble into traps like a child, and you're so perfect? Jace fired back, his voice rising. Standing there like you've got it all figured out, but you're exiled, right? Kicked out for thinking for yourself. Sounds like you're just as lost as me. Her skin flared, a burst of light that lit the cave like a flare. You know nothing of my exile, she hissed, leaning closer, her eyes burning. My clan would have burned your world to ash. I questioned them, and they cast me out. You'd be dead without me. Jace held her gaze, his jaw tight. And my sister's dying because of your people's tech. Radiation's eating her alive. So don't lecture me about sacrifice. His voice cracked, and he cursed himself for letting it slip. Lila's face pale, fading haunted him, and this cave felt like a tomb. Zara's light dimmed, her eyes softening for a fraction of a second. She looked away, clutching the ration bar. Your sister, she said quietly. The core, it's for her. Jace nodded, his throat tight. Yeah. It's all I've got left to try. He didn't know why he told her. Maybe the storm, the pain, the core's hum, it was wearing him down. But her silence felt different now, less hostile. She held out the uneaten half of the ration bar, her fingers steady. I've never shared food, she said, almost to herself. My clan doesn't. It's weakness. She hesitated, then pushed it back toward him. Keep it. You need it more. Jace took it, surprised, his fingers brushing hers cool, smooth alien. Thanks, he muttered, the word awkward. For a moment, the storm's roar was the only sound, their eyes locked in a fragile truce. Then a deep rumble shook the cave, not the storm but something mechanical. Jace's heart sank. He scrambled to his feet, ignoring the pain in his arm, and peered through the dust-choked entrance. A faint red glow pulsed outside, not drones but something bigger. What now? He whispered. Zara was beside him, her blade drawn again. Scavenger droids, she said, her voice grim. Not mine, not my clan's. They're drawn to the core's energy. She glanced at him, her eyes hard but not cruel. We fight, or we die. Jace gripped his shard, the core's hum vibrating through his pack like a warning. Guess we're stuck together a bit longer, he said, forcing a grin. Zara's lips twitched, almost a smile. Don't make me regret it, human. They stood back shoe back, weapons ready, as the red glow grew brighter, the storm's howl mixing with the droid's ominous clanking. The cave trembled as the scavenger droid's clanking grew louder, their red glow piercing the sandstorm's haze like bloodshot eyes. Jace gripped his metal shard, the core's hum in his pack now a frantic pulse, matching his racing heart. Zara stood beside him, her blade steady, her bioluminescent skin flickering with tension. The storm still raged, sealing them in, but the droids were closer, their mechanical limbs scraping the cave's entrance. Jace's arm ached, the crusted blood cracking with every movement, but he pushed the pain down. Lila was counting on him. He couldn't fail now. Those droids, Zara said, her voice low, urgent. They're not programmed to stop. The core's energy is like a beacon. They'll tear this cave apart to get it. Jace glanced at the pack, the core's glow seeping through the torn fabric. Great. So it's a bomb and a homing signal. He cursed under his breath, shifting his grip on the shard. What's it powering, Zara? You keep dodging the question. Her eyes flicked to him, sharp and guarded. It's not just power, she said, her voice tight. It's the heart of a weapon my clan worships. The Starforge. It could burn entire worlds or rebuild them. She hesitated, her skin dimming. I was exiled for wanting to destroy it. To stop the cycle. Jace's stomach twisted. Rebuild? You mean like fixing radiation damage? His mind raced to Lila, her shallow breaths, the medbay's failing machines. This thing could save my colony? Zara's gaze hardened. Or destroy it. The core's unstable. Too much for your kind to handle. She turned back to the entrance, blade raised, as a droid's claw punched through the storm, showering them with dust. Move! Jace shouted, diving to the side as the claw swiped, narrowly missing his chest. Zara lunged, her blade slicing through the droid's limb with a screech of metal. Sparks flew, but more red eyes glowed outside too many. Jace scrambled to his feet, the core's hum now a high-pitched whine, vibrating through his bones. It's overloading, Zara said, her voice sharp as she parried another claw. The energy surge is drawing them. We have hours, maybe less, before it destabilizes completely. Hours? Jace's voice cracked. My sister doesn't have hours. He swung his shard, smashing a droid's optic, but the effort tore at his wound, fresh blood dripping to the cave floor. The droids pressed in, their claws relentless, forcing him and Zara back. Then fight faster, Zara snapped, her blade a blur as she cleaved through another droid. But her movements were slowing, her armor-like skin scuffed, a faint crack visible on her shoulder. She wasn't invincible, and that scared Jace more than he'd admit. He ducked under a claw, his mind racing. The cave was a death trap, but the storm was weakening, the wind's howl softening. We need to get to that shuttle you mentioned, he said, panting. It's our only shot. Zara nodded, her eyes flicking to the entrance. It's half a kilometer west. If we break through, we can make it. She hesitated, then added, but the core's energy will draw more droids. And my clan. Your clan? Jace's jaw tightened. You said they exiled you. They did, she said, her voice bitter. But they'll kill for the core. It's their god. She grabbed his arm, her grip cold and strong, pulling him toward a narrow side tunnel. Run, human, now. They sprinted through the tunnel, the droid's claws scraping behind them. The core's whine grew louder, its glow now blinding, searing through the pack. Jace's legs burned, his vision blurring from blood loss, but he pushed on, Zara's steady presence beside him a strange anchor. The tunnel opened to a rocky plain, the storm's edge fading to reveal a battered shuttle nestled between boulders. Hope surged then died. A dozen droids swarmed the plain, their claws glinting. Worse, a sleek alien craft hovered above, its hull marked with Zara's clan symbols. They're here, she whispered, her skin flaring with light, then dimming. They'll kill us both. Jace's heart sank, but he tightened his grip on the shard. Then we take as many as we can. He glanced at her, forcing a grin. But I can smash more than you. Zara's eyes flickered, almost amused. You're insane, she said, but she raised her blade, matching his stance. Keep up, human. They charged, Jace swinging his shard with desperate fury, Zara's blade carving through droids like a scythe. Sparks and oil sprayed, but the droids kept coming, their numbers overwhelming. Jace's arm screamed, his strength fading, and a claw grazed his side, drawing a gasp. Zara yanked him behind a boulder, her breath ragged. You're too slow, she growled, but her hand lingered on his arm, steadying him. Your clan's weapon, Jace said, panting, blood soaking his shirt. It caused the radiation, didn't it? It's killing my sister. Zara's eyes widened, then dropped. Yes, she admitted, her voice barely audible. The Starforge's tests, they poisoned your lands. I didn't know until I was exiled. Jace's chest burned, not just from the wound. Then help me stop it, he said, his voice fierce. For Lila. For your redemption. Whatever drives you. She met his gaze, her light steady for the first time. We get to the shuttle, she said. Together. The droids closed in, the clan ship descending. The core's whine hit a fever pitch, its glow a beacon in the fading storm. Jace nodded, his vision swimming but his resolve iron. They'd make it or die trying. Jace's boots skidded across the rocky plain, the core's searing glow leaking from his torn pack as he and Zara sprinted toward the shuttle. The air crackled with energy, the core's whine a deafening pulse that drowned out the scavenger droid's screeches. Zara's blade flashed beside him, cleaving through a droid's claw, but her movements were sluggish, her cracked armor glinting dully under the twin suns. Jace's side burned from the fresh wound, blood soaking his shirt, but he pushed forward, Lila's frail face driving him. The shuttle was close 50 meters, maybe less, but the clan ship loomed above, its shadow swallowing the plane. "Keep moving," Zara shouted, her voice strained as she parried another droid. The core's energy was spiking, its hum vibrating through Jace's bones, and the droids were frenzied, their red optics locked on the pack. The clan ship fired a warning shot, a plasma bolt scorching the ground nearby, kicking up a spray of molten rock. Jace ducked, his heart pounding. "They're not messing around," he yelled, dodging a droid's claw that grazed his shoulder. He swung his metal shard, smashing its optic, but the effort nearly buckled his knees. He was losing too much blood, his vision blurring at the edges. Zara grabbed his arm, yanking him toward the shuttle. "Stay focused, human." Her skin pulsed erratically, her strength waning. They reached the shuttle's hatch, a rusted relic half buried in sand. Jace fumbled with the controls, his bloody fingers slipping, while Zara stood guard, her blade a blur against the droids. The hatch hissed open and Jace stumbled inside, Zara close behind. He slammed the controls, sealing the door, but before he could catch his breath, Zara spun on him, her eyes blazing. "Give me the core," she demanded, her blade raised, not quite threatening but close. Jace froze, his hand tightening on the pack. "What the hell?" he gasped, backing against the shuttle's console. "We're in this together." "Not anymore," Zara said, her voice cold but unsteady, her light flickering. "I can't let you keep it. My clan will hunt us forever unless I destroy the Starforge." She lunged, snatching the pack before Jace could react. With a swift motion, she activated the shuttle's inner lock, trapping him in the cargo hold. The door slammed shut, her silhouette fading behind the reinforced glass. "Zara." Jace pounded the door, his fists leaving bloody smears. "You need me. You can't do this alone." Rage and betrayal burned through him, but her words echoed, "Destroy the Starforge." She wasn't stealing it for power, she wanted to end her clan's weapon. But at what cost? Through the glass he saw her slump against the console, the core's glow bathing her in eerie light. "I was exiled for this," she said, her voice muffled but raw. "For refusing to let the Starforge wipe out your colonies. I have to finish it, human. Alone." Jace's mind raced. He grabbed his shard, prying at the lock, his wounded arm screaming. "You're not the only one with something to lose," he shouted. "My sister's dying because of your clan's poison. You owe me this." Zara's eyes met his, her light dimming with guilt. But she turned away, inputting coordinates into the console. Jace's desperation surged. He wedged the shard into the lock, twisting with all his strength. The mechanism groaned, then snapped, the door hissing open. He tackled Zara, pinning her against the console, the core clattering to the floor, its whine piercing. "Stop," he roared, his bloodied hand gripping her wrist. She struggled, her strength overwhelming, but Jace held on, driven by fury and fear. He slammed his fist into her shoulder, hitting the crack in her armor. A sharp gasp escaped her, and glowing, sapphire blood seeped from the wound, shimmering like liquid starlight. Jace froze, stunned. She wasn't invincible. She bled, just like him. Zara's eyes widened, her light faltering. "You," she whispered, clutching her shoulder, her blade forgotten. For a moment, they stared at each other, the core's hum the only sound. Then the shuttle shook, a plasma bolt from the cleansed ship, rocking the hull. Jace released her, stumbling back, his breath ragged. "I didn't mean," he started, but Zara cut him off, her voice softer now, almost broken. "You're right," she said, her glowing blood dripping to the floor. "I owe you." She picked up the core, her hands trembling, and handed it back to him. "The Starforge's radiation poisoned your sister. I didn't know, not until it was too late." Jace took the core, its warmth searing through his gloves. "Then help me," he said, his voice raw. "Not just for Lila. For everyone your clan's hurt." Zara nodded, her eyes steady despite the pain. "But the core's unstable. If we don't neutralize it soon, it'll take this planet with it." Jace's heart sank. The shuttle's console sparked, damaged by the clan ship's attack. Outside, droids swarmed, and the clan ship's weapons charged for another shot. Their goals had shifted, no longer just survival or redemption, but stopping a catastrophe. "We do this together," Jace said, meeting her gaze. "No more betrayals." Zara's light pulsed, faint but resolute. "Together," she agreed, picking up her blade. The core's whine hit a new peak, its glow blinding, as the shuttle's hull groaned under another blast. The shuttle's interior glowed with the core's blinding light, its whine a relentless scream that rattled Jace's teeth. He clutched the pack, the core's heat burning through the fabric, while Zara braced against the console, her sapphire blood streaking her cracked armor. The clan ship's plasma bolts pounded the hull, each hit shaking the shuttle like a toy. Outside, scavenger droids clawed at the hull, their red optics glowing through the viewport. Jace's side throbbed, his blood-soaked shirt sticking to his skin, but Zara's betrayal and her bleeding had shifted something. They weren't just fighting to survive anymore. They had to stop the core from tearing the planet apart. "We need to stabilize it," Zara said, her voice steady despite the pain in her eyes. She tapped the console, its cracked screen flickering with alien symbols. "The shuttle's dampening field can slow the core's reaction, but it's damaged. We have to fix it." Jace nodded, wiping sweat and blood from his brow. "Tell me what to do." His hands shook, but Lila's face pale, fading kept him focused. He wasn't losing her, not after coming this far. Zara pointed to a panel beneath the console, her glowing blood smearing the metal. "Rewire the power conduits. Your human chaos might actually help." Her lips twitched, almost a smile, the first crack in her icy demeanor. Jace snorted, dropping to his knees and prying open the panel. "Chaos, huh? That's just my charm." He yanked out frayed wires, his fingers clumsy from blood loss. The core's hum spiked, making his head throb, but he forced a grin. "You ever fix a shuttle under fire?" Zara crouched beside him, her blade set aside, her long fingers deftly sorting wires. "My clan doesn't fix. They conquer." Her voice softened, her light dimming. "I learned this in exile. Alone." Jace glanced at her, surprised by the admission. "Sounds lonely," he said, twisting a wire into place. "Colony life's rough, but we've got each other. Me, Lila, the others, we fight to survive together." Zara's eyes flicked to him, her light pulsing faintly. "Together," she murmured, like the word was foreign. She hesitated, then added, "I questioned the Star Forge because I saw your colonies. Families. Bonds. My clan calls that weakness." Jace's chest tightened. "It's not weak to care," he said, his voice rough. "Lila's all I've got. I'd die for her." He paused, meeting her gaze. "What are you fighting for, Zara?" Her fingers stilled, her eyes distant. "To be free," she said quietly. "From my clan's dogma. From their bloodlust." She touched her shoulder, where her glowing blood had dried. "You made me bleed. No one's done that before. It scared me." Jace blinked, the core's hum fading to background noise. "Scared you?" He chuckled, despite the pain. "You're a damn champion, and I'm just a scavenger." "You're more," she said, her voice barely audible. "You fight for someone else. I've only fought for myself." She handed him a wire, their fingers brushing her skin cool, his warm with blood. The moment lingered, the shuttles shaking a distant roar. A plasma bolt slammed the hull, sparks flying from the console. Jace cursed, twisting the last wire into place. The dampening field hummed to life, the core's whine softening slightly, its glow dimming. "It's working," he said, grinning despite the chaos. Zara nodded, her light steadying. "For now. But the field won't hold long." She stood, grabbing her blade, her movements smoother despite her wound. "We need to get off this planet before the core overloads." Jace hauled himself up, leaning on the console. "My colony's a day's flight. If we can get there, we can use their tech to stabilize it. Save Lila. Maybe your people too." Zara's eyes narrowed, but not with hostility. "You still trust me?" After, she gestured at the cargo hold door, where she'd locked him. He shrugged, wincing at the pain. "You gave the core back. That's a start." He managed a weak grin. "Besides, I'm not dumb enough to fight alone." Her light pulsed, almost warm. "You're not what I expected, human." She turned to the console, plotting a course through the clan ship's barrage. "Let's move." They worked together, Jace's shaky hands on the controls, Zara's precision guiding their inputs. The shuttle's engine sputtered, damaged but functional, and Jace laughed a short, reckless sound. "We're gonna make it, right?" Zara glanced at him, her blade resting against her thigh. "Don't jinx it," she said, but her tone held a hint of amusement, a spark of something new. The shuttle lurched, engines roaring as they broke free of the droid's claws. The clan ship fired again, a bolt grazing the hull, but Zara's quick adjustments kept them airborne. Jace watched her focus absolute, her blood still glowing faintly on her armor. They were a mess, wounded, hunted, bound by a fragile trust, but for the first time, they felt like a team. The core's hum steadied, the dampening field holding, but the console sparked, warning lights flashing. "We've got maybe an hour before this thing fries," Jace said, his voice tight. "Then what?" Zara's eyes met his, resolute. "We fly, we fight, together." The shuttle soared into the storm's fading edge, the clan ship in pursuit, the core a ticking bomb between them. Jace gripped the controls, Zara's hand steady beside his, their shared resolve a quiet strength against the chaos. The shuttle shuddered violently, its engines screaming as it tore through the planet's crimson skies. Jace gripped the controls, his knuckles white, blood from his wounds smearing the console. The core's glow pulsed erratically in his pack, the dampening field flickering, its hum a low, ominous throb. Zara stood beside him, her bioluminescent skin dim, her cracked armor stained with glowing sapphire blood. The clan ship loomed in the viewport, a sleek predator firing plasma bolts that lit the clouds like lightning. They were outrunning the scavenger droids, but the clan ship was closing fast, its weapons locking on. "Hold it together," Zara shouted, her voice sharp over the alarms. She braced against the console, her blade sheathed but her hand twitching toward it. "If we lose the field, the core detonates." Jace's jaw clenched, his side burning where the droid's claw had torn him. "Working on it," he snapped, yanking the controls to dodge another bolt. The shuttle veered, sparks flying from a hit to the wing. He'd planned to reach the colony, stabilize the core, save Lila. But the clan ship wasn't giving them a chance. "Your people don't quit, do they?" Zara's eyes flashed, her light flaring with anger. "They're not my people anymore." She tapped the console, rerouting power to the engines, her fingers a blur. "I led them here. That's on me." Jace shot her a look, surprised by the admission. "You didn't know they'd track us," he said, his voice softer despite the chaos. "We're in this together, remember?" Before she could reply, a plasma bolt struck the shuttle's tail, sending it into a spin. Jace cursed, fighting the controls as the world tilted, the core's hum spiking to a scream. Zara grabbed his shoulder, steadying him, her grip firm, but not harsh. "Stabilize it," she yelled, her light pulsing erratically. "I'm trying," Jace growled, his vision swimming from blood loss. The console sparked, the dampening field's readings dropping. The colony was still hours away, and the core's instability was a death sentence. They needed a new plan now. Zara's eyes darted to the viewport, the clan ship's silhouette growing larger. "There's a canyon ahead," she said, her voice urgent. "We can lose them in the narrows. Land and hide." Jace nodded, banking the shuttle toward a jagged scar in the landscape. The canyon's walls rose like teeth, barely wide enough for the shuttle. He dove, the hull scraping rock, sparks lighting the cockpit. The clan ship followed, its bolts blasting chunks from the canyon walls. Jace's heart pounded, but Zara's calm focus beside him kept him grounded. They were a team, fragile as it was. The shuttle skidded into a narrow crevice, grinding to a halt. The dampening field flickered, the core's glow blinding. Jace killed the engines, the sudden silence deafening. "We're hidden," he whispered, panting. "For now." Zara's light dimmed, her eyes scanning the console. "The field's failing. We've got minutes before the core overloads." She hesitated, then added, "I can rig a bypass, but it'll drain the shuttle's power. We'll be stranded." Jace's stomach dropped. Stranded meant no way to reach Lila. But if the core blew, there'd be no colony to return to. "Do it," he said, his voice tight. "We'll figure out the rest." Zara worked fast, her fingers tearing into the console's wiring, but the clan ship's roar echoed closer. A shadow passed overhead, and Jace's blood ran cold. "They found us," he said, grabbing his metal shard. "We fight." "No," Zara said, her voice sharp. "You're too weak." She stood, her blade drawn, her light flaring with resolve. "I'll hold them off. Finish the bypass." Jace grabbed her arm, his grip shaky but firm. "Not alone," he said, meeting her eyes. "You're not sacrificing yourself." Her light flickered, something raw in her gaze. "You don't understand," she said, pulling free. "I led them here. I trusted they wouldn't follow." Her voice broke, a rare crack in her armor. "This is my fault." Before Jace could argue, the shuttle's hatch exploded inward, blown apart by a plasma charge. A clan enforcer stormed in, its armor gleaming, its weapon trained on Zara. Jace moved without thinking, shoving her aside and swinging his shard. The blow glanced off the enforcer's armor, but a plasma shot grazed his chest, searing pain dropping him to his knees. Blood pooled beneath him, his vision darkening. "Jace." Zara's voice cut through the haze, her blade clashing with the enforcer's weapon. She fought with desperate fury, her light blazing, but more enforcers appeared at the hatch. Jace crawled to the console, his hands trembling as he finished the bypass, the dampening field stabilizing with a weak hum. The core's whine softened, but the victory felt hollow. Zara screamed a sound of rage and pain as an enforcer's blade slashed her side, her glowing blood spraying the cockpit. She staggered but fought on, downing one enforcer before another grabbed the core from Jace's pack. "No," he rasped, lunging, but his strength failed, his body collapsing. The enforcer vanished with the core, the clan ship's engines roaring as it retreated. Zara fell to her knees beside Jace, her blood mixing with his on the floor. "I failed," she whispered, her light fading. "They have it." Jace's vision blurred, Lila's face fading in his mind. "We're not done," he croaked, clutching her hand. "We get it back." But his strength was gone, his world slipping into darkness as Zara's anguished cry echoed. Jace drifted in and out of consciousness, the shuttle's cold floor biting into his back, his chest a furnace of pain where the enforcer's plasma had seared him. Blood soaked his shirt, sticky and warm, mingling with the faint glow of Zara's sapphire blood beside him. The core was gone, stolen by her clan, its absence a void heavier than the wounds. The shuttle's dampening field hummed weakly, the console sparking, but the silence was oppressive, broken only by Zara's ragged breaths. She knelt over him, her hands pressing alien cloth to his chest, her bioluminescent skin dim, her eyes four glowing slits wide with something like fear. "Stay awake, human," Zara said, her voice sharp but trembling, her fingers steady as she applied pressure. "You don't get to die on me." Her blood-streaked armor glinted faintly, the crack on her shoulder stark against her fading light. Jace groaned, his vision swimming. "Not planning to," he rasped, each word a knife in his lungs. Lila's face haunted him, her weak smile, her whispered hope. He'd lost the core, her only chance. The failure burned worse than the wound. "You okay?" he managed, eyeing her side, where her own blood glowed faintly. Zara's light flickered, her gaze dropping. "I've survived worse," she said, but her voice was hollow. She tied off the cloth, her hands lingering on his chest, then sat back, her blade resting beside her. "I led them to us. I thought I could outrun them." Jace forced himself to sit up, pain lancing through him. "You didn't know," he said, his voice rough but firm. "Stop blaming yourself. We're not done." He met her eyes, seeing the guilt she tried to hide. "We get the core back. For Lila. For your freedom." Zara's light pulsed, faint but steadying. "You still believe that?" she asked, her voice soft, almost disbelieving. "After I betrayed you? After I lost it? You gave it back," Jace said, wincing as he shifted. "You fought for me. That's enough." He paused, his throat tight. "I've been running on my own for years, scavenging, scraping by, thinking only of Lila. But you," he hesitated, searching her face. "You're fighting for something bigger. That's not nothing." Zara looked away, her light dimming further. "I was raised to obey," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "The Starforge was our god, our purpose. I questioned it, saw the pain it caused your colonies, your sister. I thought destroying it would free me." She touched her wounded side, her fingers trembling. "But I'm still their shadow. I led them to you." Jace's chest ached, not just from the wound. "You're not them," he said, his voice fierce. "You're here, with me, bleeding for this. That's not their shadow. That's you." He reached out, his hand brushing hers, warm against her cool skin. "We're more than our mistakes." Her eyes met his, her light flaring briefly, a spark of warmth. "You're too stubborn," she said, but her lips twitched, almost a smile. "Your sister, she's like you." Jace chuckled, the sound weak but real. "Worse. She'd be yelling at me to get up already." His smile faded, Lila's frail form vivid in his mind. "I've been fighting to save her, but I'm scared I'm not enough. Not without the core." Zara's hand tightened on his, a rare gesture. "You're enough," she said, her voice steady now. "You made me bleed. You made me think. That's more than my clan ever did." She stood, pulling him gently to his feet, her strength supporting his weight. "We'll get it back. Together." Jace nodded, his resolve hardening despite the pain. "Your clan's got the core. They'll take it to the Starforge, right?" He leaned against the console, the shuttle's flickering lights casting shadows. "We hit them there. And this." Zara's light pulsed, brighter now. "The Starforge is their fortress," she said. "Heavily guarded, built into the planet's core. But I know its weaknesses. I trained there." Her eyes gleamed with new purpose. "I'm done running from them." Jace grinned, though it hurt. "That's the spirit. Let's make them regret chasing us." He glanced at the console, its warning still flashing. The shuttle was barely functional, its power drained, but it could limp to the fortress. "We've got one shot. No more screw-ups." Zara nodded, her blade in hand, her light steady. "No more screw-ups," she echoed, her voice firm. She plotted a course, her fingers swift despite her wounds. The shuttle's engine sputtered, groaning to life, and Jace felt a spark of hope. They'd lost the core, nearly lost each other, but something had changed. They weren't just allies now, they were partners, bound by blood and purpose. The shuttle lifted, shaking but airborne, the canyon fading below. The twin suns dipped low, casting long shadows, and Jace's mind turned to Lila, to the colony, to the fight ahead. He glanced at Zara, her focus absolute, her light a beacon in the dim cockpit. They'd grown, both of them, and the fortress waited. The shuttle limped through the crimson skies, its engines coughing, the console sparking with every jolt. Jace gripped the armrest, his chest wounded dull throb under Zara's makeshift bandage, his blood-crusted shirt stiff against his skin. Beside him, Zara piloted with fierce precision, her bioluminescent skin glowing steadily despite the sapphire blood drying on her cracked armor. The Starforge loomed ahead, a jagged fortress carved into a volcanic crater, its spires pulsing with the core's stolen energy. The twin suns hung low, casting an eerie glow over the structure, and Jace's heart pounded not just from pain, but from the weight of what lay ahead. Lila's life, Zara's freedom, the planet's fate, it all hinged on this. "We're going in hot," Zara said, her voice taut, her four eyes locked on the viewport. "The fortress is locked down. Automated defenses, elite guards, and the core's energy will be destabilizing their systems. We use that chaos." Jace nodded, his metal shard clutched in his hand, its edge dulled but still deadly. "Chaos is my specialty," he said, forcing a grin despite the ache in his chest. "You know their weak spots. Where do we hit?" Zara's light pulsed, her fingers flying over the console. "The core chamber. It's deep inside, guarded by the clan's best. I trained there. I know every corridor, every trap. She glanced at him, her eyes softening for a moment. We get the core, neutralize it, or we don't walk out. Got it, Jace said, his voice steady despite the fear gnawing at him. Lila's face flashed in his mind, her weak smile, her fading hope. He couldn't fail her now. Let's make them bleed. The shuttle dove toward the fortress, dodging a barrage of plasma turrets that lit the sky like fireworks. Zara weaved through the fire, her skill keeping them alive as the hull groaned under stray hits. Jace braced himself, his wounds screaming, but his focus was razor sharp. They were a team now, forged in blood and betrayal, and the core was their last shot. The shuttle crashed through a maintenance hatch, skidding into a dark corridor. Sparks flew, the engines dying with a final sputter. Jace and Zara stumbled out, weapons ready, the core's distant hum vibrating through the walls. The fortress was alive, alarms blaring, automated drones whirring, their red optics scanning. Zara led the way, her blade slicing through a drone with surgical precision, while Jace smashed another with his shard, his movements slower but fueled by desperation. They fought through twisting corridors, Zara's knowledge guiding them past traps, laser grids, collapsing floors, her light flaring with each strike. Jace matched her, his scrappy instincts complementing her disciplined fury. A guard appeared, clad in glowing armor, and Zara downed him in seconds, her blade a blur. Jace grabbed the guard's plasma rifle, its weight unfamiliar but welcome. Nice teamwork, he panted, flashing her a grin. Zara's light flickered, almost amused. Don't get cocky, human. But her tone held warmth, a far cry from her earlier disdain. They reached the core chamber, a vast cavern pulsing with energy, the stolen core suspended in a web of alien tech, its glow blinding. The hum was deafening, the air crackling with unstable power. Guards patrolled the chamber, their weapons trained, and above them stood the clan leader, a towering figure in ornate armor, her 6 eyes glowing with fury. Zara, the leader, hissed, her voice echoing. Traitor, you bring a human to defile our sanctuary? Zara stepped forward, her blade raised, her light blazing. Your sanctuary poisons worlds, she said, her voice steady. The Starforge ends today. She glanced at Jace, a silent signal, and they charged. The battle erupted, guards swarming, plasma bolts lighting the chamber. Jace fired the stolen rifle, his shots wild but effective, downing 2 guards as Zara carved through others, her blade a whirlwind. They fought as one, Jace's chaos syncing with Zara's precision, their movements a desperate dance. A guard's blade grazed Jace's arm, reopening his wound, but he gritted his teeth, pushing forward. Zara took a hit, her armor cracking further, her blood glowing as it splattered the floor. The clan leader descended, her weapon a massive energy lance that hummed with power. You're nothing without us, she snarled at Zara, lunging. Zara parried, but the force knocked her back, her light dimming. Jace fired at the leader, drawing her attention. Hey, ugly, he shouted, dodging a lance strike that scorched the floor. Pick on someone your own size. He dove behind a console, his heart pounding, giving Zara time to recover. Zara's eyes met his, gratitude flashing in her light. The core, she said, nodding to the chamber's center. Overload it. I'll hold her off. Jace hesitated, his chest tight. You'll die, he said, the words heavy. He'd seen her bleed, seen her fight for him. He couldn't lose her now. I won't, Zara said, her voice fierce. Trust me. She charged the leader, their blades clashing in a shower of sparks, her light blazing with defiance. Jace sprinted to the core, dodging plasma fire, his hands shaking as he reached the control panel. The core's energy burned his skin, its hum a scream in his ears. Zara's voice echoed from their fight in the shuttle. I know how to overload it, but it risks my life. His stomach twisted, she'd known this was coming. He hacked the panel, his scavenger instincts kicking in, rerouting energy flows as Zara had taught him. The core's glow intensified, the chamber shaking, cracks forming in the walls. Zara, he yelled, his voice raw. It's going critical. She glanced back, her light steady despite the blood streaking her armor. Do it, she shouted, blocking the leader's lance. For your sister. For us. Jace's hand hovered over the final switch, his heart torn. The core's energy surged, the chamber's tech sparking, the hum now a deaf. The core chamber shook, the walls cracking as the stolen core's glow became a blinding supernova, its scream drowning out the clash of Zara's blade against the clan leader's lance. Jace stood at the control panel, his hand frozen over the overload switch, sweat mixing with the blood crusting his wounds. His chest burned, his vision blurred, but Lila's face pale, fading kept him anchored. Zara's voice echoed in his head. For your sister. For us. The chamber's tech sparked wildly, the core's energy tearing at the fortress's heart. He had seconds to decide: save the planet or lose everything. Jace. Zara shouted, her light flaring as she parried a lance strike, her sapphire blood dripping onto the shuddering floor. The clan leader loomed over her, 6 eyes blazing, her weapon crackling with power. Do it now. Jace's heart pounded, his fingers trembling. Overloading the core would destroy the Starforge and the clan's threat, but the risk: Zara's life, the planet's stability was too high. He couldn't lose her, not after everything. There's gotta be another way, he yelled, his voice raw, scanning the panel for options. There isn't, Zara snapped, dodging a lance thrust that scorched the ground. Her armor was shattered, her light dimming, but she fought on, her blade a blur. The core's unstable. It's this or nothing, Jace cursed, his scavenger instincts screaming. He rerouted the panel's energy, diverting power from the fortress's defenses to the core's containment field, buying seconds. The chamber shook harder, debris falling, the remaining guards scrambling as drones sparked and died. He glanced at Zara, her light a faint flicker against the leader's onslaught. She was buying him time, bleeding for him. The clan leader laughed, a cold, guttural sound. You betray us for a human, she taunted, her lance grazing Zara's side, drawing more glowing blood. You're nothing without the Starforge. Zara's eyes blazed, her light surging. I'm free, she hissed, lunging with desperate strength, her blade cracking the leader's armor. The leader staggered, but struck back, knocking Zara to her knees. Jace's chest tightened. He slammed the panel, boosting the containment field, the core's hum stabilizing for a moment. Zara, hold on, he shouted, sprinting to her side, his stolen plasma rifle firing wildly at the leader. The shots glanced off, but they gave Zara a chance to roll clear, her breath ragged. Finish it, she gasped, clutching her side, her light barely aglow. The field won't hold. Jace nodded, his throat tight. He returned to the panel, his hand steady despite the pain. The core's energy was too wild to contain, it had to be overloaded, redirected into the Starforge itself. He input the commands, his fingers flying, the chamber's alarm screaming as the core's glow pulsed erratically. Get to the shuttle, he yelled, not looking back. Zara staggered to her feet, grabbing his arm. Not without you, she said, her voice fierce despite her wounds. Her blood glowed faintly, mixing with his on the floor, a strange mirror of their bond. The leader charged, lance raised, but Zara threw herself in front, her blade blocking the blow. The impact sent her crashing into Jace, both tumbling to the ground. The core's hum hit a fever pitch, the chamber's walls splitting, lava seeping through the cracks. Jace dragged Zara to her feet, his arm around her, and they ran, the leader's enraged roar behind them. They reached the shuttle, its hull battered but intact, as the fortress began to collapse. Jace shoved Zara inside, slamming the controls to seal the hatch. The core's energy surged, a final pulse shaking the chamber, and he hit the overload switch remotely. A deafening explosion rocked the fortress, the Starforge spires crumbling, the core's light erupting in a wave that consumed the clan leader and her guards. The shuttle's engines roared, Zara's hands joining Jace's on the controls, their wounds forgotten in the rush. They soared clear as the fortress imploded, a shockwave of dust and fire chasing them into the sky. The core was gone, its energy spent, the Starforge destroyed. Jace's chest heaved, relief warring with exhaustion. Zara slumped beside him, her light faint but steady. We did it, she whispered, her blood-streaked face softening. Your sister, she's safe from them now. Jace's throat tightened, Lila's smile vivid in his mind. Yeah, he said, his voice hoarse. But I need to get to her. The colony's got tech maybe enough to save her. He glanced at Zara, her eyes meeting his, a quiet understanding passing between them. What about you? Zara's light pulsed, warm despite her pain. I'm staying, she said. This planet, it needs rebuilding. Without the Starforge, my clan's broken. I can start something new. She touched his hand, her fingers cool. But I'll find you again, human. Jace grinned, weak but real. I'm not done running yet, he said, echoing his desperate sprint through the canyon days ago. The words felt different now, hopeful, not hunted. The shuttle broke through the clouds, the twin suns setting, casting long shadows. A faint signal crackled on the console, a distress beacon from another planet, hinting at new threats. Jace's heart sank, but he pushed it aside. For now, he'd won. They'd won. As Zara plotted a course to drop him at the colony, Jace leaned back, her presence a quiet strength beside him. Keep fighting, Zara, he said softly. You're more than their champion. She smiled, a rare, genuine curve of her lips. And you're more than a scavenger. The shuttle soared on, the future uncertain but theirs to shape. Love the epic finale of Jace and Zara's journey? Subscribe to our channels, Cheaters and Chills, for more thrilling sci-fi adventures and exclusive content. And stay tuned for what's next.